Hey guys, so I am at SCG-Con Las Vegas right now. I just spent my Thursday kind of wandering around Las Vegas near my hotel, and I figured that I had nothing else going on, so I might as well record a video about the new spoilers that we got this week, and I'll probably add any new spoilers that come out between when I'm recording this and when I actually want to post this. So I think there's one more coming from Mike that I don't have in this video yet, but I'll probably add it in at the end. I won't have my normal microphone, so I'm just using this microphone, so it's not going to sound as good as normal. So the first card I want to talk about is Orpheus's Crossing. This is a unique site. It reduces air threshold, and it was spoiled by Cardboard Guide. And it has Genesis, you're on death's door until your next turn. Summon a dead minion here. So I believe that the card truly puts you on death's door, so it's no joke. Like, if you just play this and then pass the turn and your opponent casts Lightning Bolt, you just lose the game as soon as like turn 2. So obviously you have to be super careful with this card. You're put on death's door whether or not you actually get to reanimate a minion. So like if this is in your opening hand, you're probably not going to have any dead minions by the time you have to play this card. I mean, technically you don't have to, but you really want to be playing this card. I should say at the very beginning, but I only rate cards for limited play. Some other smarter people who know how to break the constructed meta can talk about these cards for constructed, but I'm only going to be talking about these cards for limited play because that's basically the format that I play. So the only way I can see playing this card is if there's reliable ways to put wards on your avatar, and so far we haven't seen like any ways to do that. Or I mean, there's that fire card that you get to reveal your opponent's hand and they banish a card, or like lookout or whatever. Like maybe you can see that they don't have the death blow in hand, but even then it's like they might just top deck something and you just lose the game if they have a movement effect or if they have a burn spell or anything like that. So that's just way too risky, I think, for limited. It is a blowout if you get to play this and get a minion and they don't kill you, but like what percentage of the time do you just lose the game because you played this? If it's more than like 5% of the time, then it's probably just not worth playing this, honestly, because like that one minion might not even win you the game. So if this was like you win the game 90% of the time you play it and you lose the game 10% of the time, like that would be acceptable, but it's like that 90% of the time that you don't just lose the game on the spot. You just get an advantage, and you shouldn't just be taking like, well, I have a 10% chance of losing this game if I play this card, but I'm going to do it anyway because it might help my odds of winning. That's just not really a good thing for you to do. Another weird thing about this card is that it says you're on death's door, and I looked it up in the codex, and it says that your life total can't change, is how I'm reading the death's door explanation in the codex. So if you play this and they aren't able to kill you and they're in a spot where they're attacking your sites, I believe this is actually kind of gaining you life because your life total can't change while you're in death's door. So I don't know, kind of a weird thing. But yeah, if there's some great way to actually protect your avatar to make sure that you don't get the death blow next turn, then maybe like in constructed with Bruin or something like that. Or I mean, we've gotten a bodyguard in both of the first two sets, so maybe there's a bodyguard type minion in Gothic. Who knows? Anyway, I'm going to move on to Persecutor. This is a 20 life 2 power avatar. It has tap 2 player draw site, and then it has once on your turn, Persecutor may step toward the closest evil or branded enemy, so your cards treat them as evil this turn. Pretty weird ability. So it's like free movement, and then there's these like situational removal spells, basically, that will say that they banish evil or whatever, and they get better because you have Persecutor. Um, I don't know. I'm not really a believer in this card. I think you are supposed to be playing evil if you're playing Persecutor, because you can just play your evil minion right in front of the Persecutor, and then it may take a step toward the closest evil. That includes your own evil. I don't think that it having 2 power is really going to be that impactful. Like the reason that Battle Mage is sometimes a playable avatar is because it has 3 power, but also like it draws spells every time it hits something. That's just way better than whatever this thing is doing, in my opinion. So Battle Mage, I'm not that high on either. I kind of suck at playing Battle Mage, honestly, so maybe I'm just a little bit biased, but I think Battle Mage is extremely difficult to build around in Limited. I think Persecutor is going to be even harder, and it's less likely that this is going to be worth playing. So I'm going to give this like a D. I just don't think that it's going to be better than Spellslinger. If you're new to Limited, you might be surprised to hear that the default avatar for limited is sometimes better than other avatars, and it's totally true. Like the one card that the spell slinger starts with, like it starts with 4 spells instead of 3 spells. That is a huge deal. Like limited is all about card advantage, and you start with an additional card with that default avatar. So every time you're giving that up to put a different avatar in that slot, you really need to make up for that card plus additional value, because you can't just make up for the one card. That's not enough. You actually have to get more value than the one card, and I just don't think that you're really getting that with this. So maybe in like a really low curve aggro deck where you're reliably like attacking for 2 with this guy, and probably like the branding your opponent's stuff with evil matters. Both of those things need to kind of combine in like a perfect way for this to actually be better than Spellslinger. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Not really high on this one. I think the rest of the cards I rated as like playable cards though. So let's talk about some actual playables. Bind Evil is 1 mana, 1 Earth threshold for an exceptional magic. Disable target nearby evil minion until an adjacent spellcaster taps to release it. So this is super efficient. 1 mana, disable something nearby, and like if they don't get a spellcaster over there, it's just permanent. Um, and there's not that many spellcasters, so there's like Novice Necromancer and like Master Necromancer or whatever. I don't know if we've seen any other spellcasters that I can think of in Gothic. I'm sure there's going to be more. Of course, your avatar is a spellcaster. You can't really be doing this against something that's like anywhere close to their avatar. Like you need to do this against something that's at least like 3 steps away from from their avatar, I guess, because 2 steps away means he can take 1 step and then he'll be adjacent to it. So something that's 3 steps away, which is pretty far. I mean, if it's only 2 steps away and then they have to spend like two uses of their avatar to move and then tap to release this, that's still a lot of tempo. I don't know. Yeah, in some cases where this is just 1 mana, basically make your thing useless for the rest of the game, I mean, that's extremely powerful. So, yeah, this is going to be great in some matchups. It's in Earth, so you're primarily going to be playing against evil. Yeah, I don't know. This card might be amazing. So, I'm giving this a B minus right now. Like, yeah, I think you just want this effect. I think maybe this is a card that probably gets worse in multiples, but yeah, it seems really powerful to me. So, kind of crazy to see this card. It's a really sweet design though. Like hard removal, but situational. Like only works on some types of minions, and they can release it potentially. So yeah, I really like the design of that one. Accusation is next. This is 3 mana, 2 fire threshold for an exceptional magic. Target opponent reveals their hand and banishes a card. If any of their cards or allies are evil, you may choose which. I don't know. This one's kind of tough. Like it's 3 mana to get a 1 for 1, but they don't have to spend any mana on the card that you're getting from them, so that's not always the best deal. But if you get to choose the card, that's pretty powerful. And I think this is going to be online, like, I don't know, like 75% of the time or something. Like, if they just have a skeleton token in play, then you get to choose which card they banish. And every deck is going to have at least 5 evil minions or something. Like, I can't imagine a deck that doesn't have any evil, unless it's literally like mono earth, but even then, they are going to have some evil in their deck. So, I mean, this card does nothing if you're behind. If you're at parity, like you traded minions and it's your turn, and you can just accusation their next play, that's fine. And maybe you get like a bomb or something out of their hand. Banish a card, so you could even get a sight if you really wanted to. If they get to choose, that is a lot worse. Like just getting like using this to get rid of their worst card. At least you get to see their hand still. I don't know. I'm gonna give this like a C. I don't think it's like that amazing. Like even if you're choosing like most of the time, like I think you will be. Um, I don't know. it's just a 1-for-1, and you have to spend the mana, and it's two threshold. I don't know. I just think that Fire wants to like be putting things in play and smashing. Like Fire seems like it wants to be the aggro deck as always, but maybe Fire will be more of like a sport element in this. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could see like the Water Fire monster deck potentially using this card, but I don't think this is for like the Fire Air Demon deck. And Fire Earth, I'm not really sure what Fire Earth is going to look like, honestly. So I'll give it a C and I'll move on. Angry Mob is next. This is 4 mana, 2 fire threshold for a 3 power ordinary mortal, and has Genesis kill target adjacent unique or elite minion. To note, with a lot of these Genesis abilities that kill something, it doesn't say your opponent's. It just says unique or elite minion, so don't make the mistake of trying to play this adjacent to your own unique or elite minion, because you will end up killing your own thing. Of course, your opponent should let you take that back, because um, yeah, there's no reason to allow your opponent to just kill their own thing. So, um, but yeah, that might make it kind of difficult to put this where you want to put it. Like if you wanted this to be your blocker for your unique bomb, then that doesn't really work anymore. But the real use for the card is 4 mana, 3 power, and I kill your best minion. That's going to be completely busted when it works, and it's going to be kind of bad when it doesn't work. And I think most of the time it's not going to work. I think that leaves this at like a C, like maybe 10% of the time you get to kill your opponent's minion with it, and then you probably just win the game, honestly, if you do that. I mean, in some situations, that just wins you the game. Like 4 mana, 3 power, kill your thing is crazy, and it's ordinary. This isn't evil, which might be a downside. I don't know. Fire wants to be really aggressive. It doesn't really want a 4 mana, 3 power, do nothing minion. So I think this card's gonna be pretty bad. I'll give it like a C minus. But every once in a while, like maybe you will play this as like one of your last cards, just on the chance that you actually get to do the thing and has a huge impact, really swings the game. It might just break a ward also. Like the Archangels both have ward, and they would be really sweet targets for this, and they just kind of dunk on this card. Okay, and then we got new avatar. This is Savior, 20 life, 1 power. Tap to player draw site, 1 mana, ward a minion that was summoned this turn. So big shout out to Team Covenant. That match that they played and recorded and shared with the world, like that was such an incredible match. It was such a good game, and it really showcased the avatars really well. Like, I think I'll just cover that game and just give my thoughts on like what I learned from just watching that single game. Like, you learn so much about a new set's limited format just by watching a couple games or playing in like your first draft or something. Like, you're just gonna learn so many things. 1 mana, add a ward to any minion that was just summoned. So you have to kind of play off curve, whatever. I think that's just busted, honestly. Like, I think a ward is definitely worth 1 mana. It's worth like 1.5 mana, which makes sense. Like you're giving up a spell to play this instead of Spell Slinger, so it needs to be like actually accruing value, not just like you're paying 1 for a ward and that's about what it's worth. I mean, that's just really good. This just looks incredible. Oh my gosh, this art, by the way, amazing. Like, I want to be in that crowd. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think this card is like an A minus. Like, I think this is truly a bomb. You're just gonna get so much value out of this. Like, if just like half or more of your minions just enter with a ward, like how is your opponent gonna be able to kill your minions? You know? Like, it's all about making good trades, and when all of my things have wards on them, like I get the good trades. That's what that says. So um, we did see some things that remove wards for basically nothing. Like there was just like a 3 mana, 3 power thing that has a static ability that removes wards that I'll review in a second. And then there's a couple sites that remove wards, but even then it's like sure, I'll deal with that one card and sure I lost some wards or whatever, but like who cares? Like I'm just gonna get more minions and they're all gonna have wards again. So like even though you might be able to tech against the savior, like this card's still just gonna be busted when it when they don't have the answer to it. So, yeah, I can't believe this card. I'm assuming so far that all of the avatars are going to be elite because we don't actually know. Like it's not on the text box of the card. So I'm assuming this is elite. You're going to see it a decent amount, and you should probably just take it every time, basically. Um, I'm really excited to try this card out. All right, this is a really cool one. So this is Autumn Bloom. This is an ordinary sight of transient luster. It's an earth sight, and it says Genesis provides air, water, and fire threshold this turn. So the turn it comes in, it fixes all your threshold for that turn only. That's so sweet. So I love that Earth is getting like threshold fixing as part of its element identity, I guess. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I hope this isn't a cycle. Like this should just be an Earth card, right? But how high am I going to take this is the question. And I think I'm going to put it like C right now. It might be like C plus. It seems really good. I mean, it really depends. Like, are you splashing or not? Even if you're not splashing, obviously you still play it. And it's going to be pretty good even if you're not splashing, like just fixing your second element, getting that second fire threshold that you needed. Like that's really cool. Like this doesn't cost you any mana, so you can just play it and then play your off element thing. Really love this card. I'm excited to try it out. Really cool that it's an ordinary, so like earth is an element that has legit ability to splash because of this one card. So yeah, really looking forward to trying that out. And then we get another card in this cool cycle. So this is Forlorn Keep. It's an exceptional sight. It has Earth Threshold, and then when it enters, if you have 2 Earth Threshold, so this counts as 1, and then as long as you have 1 other Earth Threshold, then you may cast a Penitent Knight from your collection to the site. So this is Penitent Knight. This is 3 mana, 3 power, 1 Earth Threshold for an ordinary mortal with no abilities. So we saw this from air and we saw it from fire, and we saw like the horrible hybrid in water. We haven't seen the site that makes the horrible hybrid yet, but I'm assuming every element gets one of these. These sites are so powerful, and seeing Steven play it in that match that Team Covenant did was like pretty impressive. Like they both had like tons of stuff on board, and neither of them had cast a spell yet. Like there were like 4 skeletons on board from the necromancer, and then he had a penitent knight with a ward on it. And like they just have a handful of cards. So I really think that's such a huge win. Like sorcery's doing card advantage in such a unique way, and I love the way that they're doing this. So yeah, I think those sites are amazing. Like these are all going to be like B level sites probably. Like that's just super powerful. And then Penitent Knight is probably still like a C plus. Like I just like 3 mana, 3 power minions. Like they just are super important and they win games. Okay, and then I just wanted to show that Darkest Dungeon. This was a card that was spoiled at Gen Con that people were like taking pictures of it behind a glass case. Now we have like a clear picture of it so you can actually read all the text. So I guess I'll just read it just to in case people haven't seen it. But Darkest Dungeon, unique site where darkness holds dominion. Genesis, the next time an ally strikes an avatar this turn, drag both here if able. Really cool site. Unfortunately, it has no threshold, which means I really don't like it, for limited at least. Just not really a fan of that kind of stuff. I don't think this is quite powerful enough for you to play a site without any threshold on it. That's just really difficult. And this is a Genesis ability, so like you have to play this and do the thing immediately. Otherwise, it's literally just a site with no threshold. So pretty significant downside to not having threshold on your sites. So I still don't recommend playing it, but I already talked about it a while ago. Rowdy Boys is 3 mana, 1 Earth Threshold for a 3 power exceptional mortal, and it untaps after striking undead. And it's a dude smashing a skeleton's head in. So sweet. So yeah, this card seems incredible. We've seen so much undead, and a lot of them are 1 or 2 power. So this can really do the thing. Like it can attack an undead or block an undead even and untap, or use some kind of magic that has him strike something nearby. It can strike an undead and untap, that kind of thing. Actually, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like if there's like a dual kind of ability. Actually, yeah, we did see something. Smite, I think, is a card I'm gonna review really soon that I think says like an ally strikes something. So he can tap to move close to an undead, cast Smite, hit the undead, untap, and then maybe he's now in range of other undead and can actually just like go to town and smash a bunch of heads. Such a sweet card. Yeah, you probably like kill 2 undead and then attack their site for 3 or something. Like that's just incredible. I love that there's just like this tacking against the the different clans of the evil and the mortals and stuff. So really looking forward to that one. I gave Rowdy Boys a B minus. Yeah, that card's pretty busted. I'm gonna be really happy to have some of those in any deck because I think you're gonna be playing against undead a lot. Accursed Desert is next. This is an ordinary site. It has fire threshold and it says Genesis break nearby wards. Obviously, this is good against Earth. There's going to be some stuff in other elements that has wards. It says break nearby wards, so it includes your own wards. That kind of sucks. But yeah, this is going to be powerful. Like, wards, I think, are really good from what I've seen from that one game and just from thinking about them. Like, they just need to have an additional answer to kill your thing now. Like, sticky minions are a thing that constructed is like all about keeping minions on board, like finding some way for your minions to actually survive because no one allows anyone's minions to survive anymore. It's all just like I play a minion with charge and kill your minion, and then you respond by playing something else with charge and killing it, or playing a removal spell, or playing something with a Genesis ability that kills your minion. And it's like every turn it's like I have a minion, now you have no minion, and I have a minion, and now I kill your minion, I have a minion. It's just like yeah, I think wards are just going to be super powerful. So this desert is going to be obviously a great part of removing your opponent's wards, and that might just be worth like an entire card worth of value at some point if you're knocking off like 2 different wards with this. That's going to be really sweet. Obviously, in that game that we saw, he was playing Savior, so he just had access to like infinite wards, and that's not really going to be the case in regular limited. Um, but yeah, it's probably still like a C to C plus. Okay, and then Order of the Pale Worm is next. This is 3 mana, 2 air threshold for a 3 power exceptional mortal, and nearby sites and units lose ward. So this is the other way to remove wards. 3 mana, 3 power, and I eat all of your wards. Um, yeah, that's really cool. You can play it as like a trick. If they have something right in front of your other minion and their thing has a ward on it, you can play this and break their ward. This is a mortal. Nearby sites and units lose ward, though. So you can't actually put a ward on this. That's kind of funny. And again, it breaks your own wards. I think you just can't play this in Earth Air, basically. I really like that this is a really powerful card that one element pair just can't possibly play because they're just going to have a bunch of wards. I mean, maybe they can still play it, but they don't. It's not going to be great. Like if they just play like the 2 mana 2 power thing that has a ward, and then this is your 3 drop, you probably just don't want to play it. So yeah, pretty interesting. I like this card a lot. I'll go to B minus, but you probably don't want to play this in Earth Air. All right, Dread Thicket is an elite site. It has air threshold. The first attack out of this site each turn can't be defended. This is mostly going to work in your favor. Your opponent can use this if they get a minion onto your Dread Thicket. That's kind of bad for you. It's cool that like you can attack sites for free or you can attack units for free. I'm kind of curious. First attack out of this site. Does that mean the minion has to start there? Like, what if something has movement +1? If they enter and then leave it, does that count? Or if they're in it and they move away and then move again and then attack, does that count? Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Maybe if they left this at any point during their movement, then it can't be defended. That's my guess. I don't know how high I'm gonna take it. Yeah, I gave this one a C plus. It is pretty powerful, and it is like you're gonna play this, and then you're gonna play a minion on top of it, and now your thing like kind of has stealth, although they can attack your minion still. I'm interested to try it. I mean, making things unblockable is really powerful. Like in Arthurian Legends, one of the last decks that I drafted was 5 Band of Thieves and 2 Tooth Fairies, and then like a couple treetop hideouts, and it was just like he could just never block any of my stuff. Like the tooth fairies tap down your stuff so they can't block. My stealthy stuff just can't be blocked. That's just a really good strategy to win games. So yeah, I mean launching all of your attacks from Dread Thicket seems pretty strong to me. So yeah, I like that. C plus. Survivors of Sarava is 2 mana, 2 power, 1 water threshold for an ordinary mortal. At the end of your turn, if no enemies are nearby, this gains stealth. Yeah, how good is that? So 2 mana, 2 power is normally like a C- if it has no relevant abilities. But this is definitely going to happen. Like, it's just going to be a 2 mana, 2 power thing with stealth some of the time. Like, probably when you play it, it has stealth. Yeah, if you can attack with stealth and then use a removal spell or something to remove their new minion that they probably played. Yeah, this will just randomly be like pretty decent upside. And then you can always just not attack with this if you want to like save the stealth attack for something. I like it a lot. I'll give it a C plus. It's at least a C. Accursed Tower is just the air version of the Accursed Desert. Pretty interesting that they're doing this. So this is an ordinary site, has air threshold, Genesis break, nearby wards. So yeah, everything that I said about the fire one applies to the air one. I don't see any difference. All right, Smite is 4 mana, 2 earth threshold for an ordinary magic. It may be cast by any ally. Strike target adjacent enemy. If it's evil, banish it instead. I think from what we've seen, we can expect like at least 2/3 of the minions to all be evil. So that's really cool. So this might just be 4 mana banish something adjacent to any of your minions or your avatar. That's really sweet. It strikes target adjacent enemy, so it can also be the death blow. It can kill non-evil things. It's a one-sided hit, so it's like a shatter strike. Yeah, this card's really good. Like Earth is getting a few ways to do direct damage now, and that's really potent. Like that's gonna really end games. You're definitely gonna smite your opponent to death at some point. Or I mean, you're not gonna get like super efficient trades with this. Like it's still 4 mana removal, but removal is removal. So I like this card quite a bit. I don't think it's busted in any case really. I mean, it's gonna be really important for Earth to have this for the death blow if they don't have like fire in their deck. Basically, I'll give this a C plus, and yeah, I don't think it'll go any lower than that. It might even go up from there. All right, next is Kiss of Death. This is 3 mana, 1 air threshold for an exceptional magic. May be cast by spirits and undead. Kill target minion here. So I believe your avatar can cast this, or your spirits or your undead can cast this. And then I kill something at that location. That's pretty amazing. This is just unconditional removal. It does say target, so if it has a ward, it will not work. That's a little bit sad. I feel like it would have been really cool if this said like ignores ward or something. Like we love 3 mana removal. Usually you don't really want to be spending your premium removal on anything that costs less than 4 mana. So you're usually trading up on resources, getting an efficient kill, and then I mean you might have to like move your thing onto their thing to be able to actually use this. So it might be kind of well balanced, but I'm pretty high on it still. I'm gonna say it's like a B if you're the undead deck, basically. Like, but if you're in air, you're gonna have some undead. So yeah, I like this a lot. It works with skeletons. Love to see that. All right, next we have Snallygaster. This is 3 mana, 2 air threshold for a 3 power ordinary spirit with movement +1. That's incredible. So we had 2 mana, 2 power, movement +1 in fire in beta. That was Rimland Nomad. And it had this ability that like ignored desert damage, which never mattered. Yeah, 3 mana, 3 power, movement +1. That's so powerful. Like all the 2 power minions, like you're just gonna have this in range of all of their 2 power minions, and they just can't attack anymore, basically. Or like if they attack and you block with this, and then they have to attack another 2 power minion into it, then you just get a 2 for 1. Also, if you're being aggressive, it's really hard to block this guy. It's also a spirit for, I guess, the Kiss of Death. There's not too many things I care about spirits other than that we've seen. It's not evil, so you can even put a ward on this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this card is just all upside. I can't believe this card. I think this is gonna be like a B. Like, I'm super high on this card. I can't believe it's ordinary. All right, and then we've got Angel Ascendant. This is 2 mana, 1 earth threshold for a 2 power elite mortal. It has airborne and +1 power while warded. Really sweet flavor, awesome design. 2 mana, 2 power minion is like a C minus. But if you get a ward on this thing, It's 2 mana, 3 power airborne, and then and it has a ward on it. So yeah, that's kind of a busted minion. But it's really a build around. So this is like a C if you don't have many wards. Like if you only have like 1 or 2 ways to ward this, it's probably like a C. But if you're really building around it, if ward has a lot of support, then this card's going to be incredible. So I guess I'll give it like a B if you're built around it properly and you can reliably give this thing a ward. If you drafted Savior, like God help us, this thing's going to be completely busted. So yeah, love the design, very good card, and it's a build around. Love to see it. Next is Divine Lance. This is 3 mana, 2 Earth threshold for an elite magic. As above, so below. That's so funny. I didn't read that before, but I was going to point out that. Okay, I'll read it first. So deal 1 damage to each minion at target site. You may break any number of allied wards to increase the damage by 1 for each. The important thing about this is that it says minions at target site. It doesn't say on top of a site. So this does hit things above or below. So it's kind of funny. Like I was looking at this and I was like, this seems kind of overcosted, honestly. Like, sure, it can go anywhere. Like it doesn't need to be nearby the spellcaster or anything. It can just go any site. But it's like 3 mana for like a 1 damage minor explosion. Like that's pretty terrible. And like maybe you can spend some wards to make it into a minor explosion, but that's like not great, you know? Like obviously minor explosion's amazing and Earth shouldn't have minor explosion. I guess the fact that it goes below the site as well is kind of cool. Like it can kill submerged things. I don't know. I guess I'm not that high on it still. I think it's like a C. It's like a C, especially if you don't have many wards, but maybe there's a world where this gets up into like the B range because there's tons of skeletons running around and maybe you have a bunch of wards. But to kill something really big with this, like you need to spend a bunch of wards. Like that's a lot to give up. Yeah, this card's kind of tough. I'm kind of low on it. I'll start it off as like a C. I don't think I'm going to take this very high.
Hey guys, I'm back home. I did a pretty good job at SCGCon Las Vegas, so you can expect some gameplay videos about that, but I am halfway through the list of spoilers that I have for this video, so I'm just going to keep on going with that. Mirror's Trophy Room. It's a unique site with no threshold, and it provides an additional 1 for each unique minion in an opponent's cemetery. I think this card is just an F. You can't even assume that your opponent has even 1 unique minion in their entire deck. In Limited, this card is just complete trash, and I guess you could play this if you're in a mono element deck, but don't expect very much out of it. Next is Consecrate. This is 2 mana, 2 Earth threshold for an exceptional magic. An ally wards its site, then may transform it into a consecrated ground from your collection. So this is the consecrated ground. We saw this a while ago. Evil has no power here. It's an exceptional Earth site. I'm not really sure on consecrated ground. I think if you're in Earth, half of your minions aren't going to be evil, so maybe this card's okay. But spending 2 mana to turn your site into a consecrated ground, I think is just not a good deal at all. Spending 2 mana to ward a site is not a good deal at all. So I think this is like a D. I just don't really see getting any value out of this. Also, if you're on your opponent's site, you ward your opponent's site. So yeah, that's just really bad. I don't know. There's probably some constructed shenanigans that can happen with this, but not for us limited players. Vampire Bats is next. This is 2 mana, 2 air threshold for a 2 power ordinary beast. It has airborne and Vampire Bats strike damage against units heals you. That's a really wordy way of saying that it has lifelink, but yeah, I like this a lot. So 2 mana, 2 power, airborne is solid. It has 2 air threshold, which makes it a little bit difficult to cast, but arguably this card is better the later on in the game you are, because then you're more likely to be healing. So I like this card. It kind of reminds me of like a Cloud Spirits, where you kind of can't play it early, but it's actually better to play it late. So I like this card a lot. I think it's a C+. You're definitely not going to cut it if you can get to 2 air threshold. Fertile Earth is next. This is one that I've been kind of theorizing about for a while, if they're going to have sites with 2 of the same threshold. So We did get that in Gothic. I'm assuming this is going to be a cycle, so this is just an exceptional site that has 2 Earth Threshold. I think it's going to be solid. Like, having one site fix basically all of your threshold needs for that element is pretty strong. Yeah, like we don't typically have too many triple threshold things, but some of the elites and especially the uniques are going to have triple or even quadruple of one threshold. So these are going to be great enablers for that kind of stuff. And really, for any deck that just has a bunch of double threshold things, you're going to want one of these. I'm just going to give it a C though. I don't know how important it's going to be to pick up early. And I think really you just need maybe like one of these in your deck and you're going to be pretty happy. So yeah, it doesn't really like affect the board, doesn't give you value necessarily, but yeah, fixing threshold is obviously great. So definitely going to take these, just not really sure how high yet. I'm going to start at C, which is kind of low. Den of Evil is next. This is a ordinary site with air threshold. It's a pond for evil. So this turn, the next evil cast to this site costs 1 less, and you ignore threshold. So obviously we have all of the experience in the world with pond at this point. It was great in Arthurian Legends Limited. You could pond out a brown bear or a lugbog cat. This is for all evil types, which includes monsters, demons, and undead. So that's kind of insane. So yeah, like more than half of the minions in the whole set are going to be able to be cast by this thing. So yeah, super high on this. I don't know, probably like a C plus at least. Gonna do a lot in this format. So looking forward to that one. Muddy Pigs. I feel like this card is just an instant meme. 2 mana, 1 water threshold for a 2 power ordinary beast. It has death right, you heal 3. So not like the most impressive death right ability, but it's just 2 mana, 2 power. It's a beast, it's not evil, which is maybe bad, maybe it's good because you can put a ward on it. You don't really want to be warding a 2 power minion anyway, but and I guess you don't mind this thing dying, so I don't know. It's just a C. It's just you're gonna see it every once in a while and it'll be fine, but obviously it's not gonna be a high pick. Town Priest is 1 mana, 1 earth threshold for a 1 power exceptional mortal. It has Genesis, return target adjacent evil minion to its owner's hand. So it does target, but that doesn't really matter because it targets an evil minion, and evil minions can't have wards on them anyway. I mean, it's one mana bounce a thing and leave behind a 1 power body. I guess it's okay. I think this is going to be maybe decent in like aggro decks where you're getting a lot of value out of removing your opponent's thing for a little bit. Like aggro decks that want to kill their opponent before they end up emptying their hand anyway. So then the fact that they get a card back in their hand isn't really that relevant. So maybe in like an earth fire aggro deck, maybe this is okay, but I'm gonna give this like a D plus. But maybe in those aggro decks, it's gonna be like a C plus. I could see that. Yeah. But if you're playing the long game, like in Earth Water, like monster control decks, I just don't think that you want this card at all. Like you're down a card when you do that. Like they're eventually gonna play all of the cards in their hand, and you just spent a card to just slow them down a little bit, and I just don't think that's really an effective way to stabilize. Like technically it stabilizes, but they're just gonna get that thing back in play, and you need to have cards that actually deal with their threats permanently, and this doesn't do that. Monks of Kobalsa. This is 4 mana, 2 earth threshold for a 4 power ordinary mortal. It can't be modified except by wards. If you saw that video where Ira and Chase played, they actually played this card incorrectly because they played a card that I'm gonna spoil in a little bit, which is the Mayor, and the Mayor was giving this +1 power, but this can't be modified. And I looked at modify in the codex, and it includes characteristics of minions. And if you look at the list of characteristics, that includes the power of the minion. So minor thing there, but it can be warded. Of course, we just love brown bears from Arthurian Legends, and this is immortal, which means it can be warded. And I don't know, can't be modified. We'll see what kind of things come up with that. We already know that it's a non-bow with the mayor that I'm gonna spoil, but I'm assuming that it's more upside than it is downside, that it can't be modified. It just has to be. Otherwise, that text just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I like this card a lot. It's probably like a B. I mean, 4 mana, 4 power is extremely good. Like we've seen 3 damage magics a lot, and this just gets around a lot of those, or it requires them to like attack with a skeleton and then use a 3 damage removal spell, that kind of thing. So um, a 4 mana 4 power body is like almost like a 2 for 1. It's like a 1.5 for 1. So you're just gonna want to play these, and you're gonna want to put wards on it and protect this. Witching Hour. This was a really interesting one. This is an exceptional magic. It's 3 mana, 2 air threshold. Your evil spellcaster and spirit allies gain airborne and +1 power this turn. It counts all evil. Like I said, probably more than half of the minions in the whole set, and then it also includes spirits. So that's kind of crazy. And then it also includes spellcasters. So, and I guess spellcaster also includes your avatar. So I guess your avatar can move diagonally and attack for 2. That's pretty cool. Yeah, importantly, this pumps all of your skeleton tokens. So if you're doing the skeleton token thing, then this is just 3 mana, like do an extra 4-6 damage this turn. Yeah, this card looked absolutely incredible in the Necromancer deck that Chase was playing. Obviously, you're not going to have Necromancer most of the time in limited, but I think you're going to have a decent amount of skeletons, and this can be busted. So I like this card a lot. I like that it's like a pure build around. I'm actually gonna give this like a B. Like, I think this is gonna easily be like a removal spell, and in some instances, it's just gonna like put your opponent at death's door out of nowhere. So yeah, I love this card, and it's really cool that it exists because we want to have more build arounds in limited, and that's what we're getting. This is Algae Bloom. This is an ordinary site with water threshold, and it has Genesis. It provides air, earth, and fire threshold this turn. So earlier in this video, I gave them a bunch of praise for having this earth bloom site that fixes threshold, and I was like, oh, really cool that earth is like fixing threshold, and that's like part of its identity. But I guess I was wrong about that. This is just a cycle. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, honestly. Like, that would be a really cool thing for earth to just have as part of its color identity. But I also kind of love that this is a bunch of sites in limited that we can splash with. So it's kind of funny. Like, I was really low on splashing, and then I was really high on splashing, and now I'm kind of low on splashing again. And Arthurian Legends just really didn't have the tools to splash. Like, it was like annual fair, and that was pretty much it. Like, sure, there was the family cycles, but those really weren't good enough for enabling splashes. Maybe these are, so I'll have to play with them. I'll give it like a C for now. But you'll kind of know when you want them. You'll have some bomb that is just one threshold off, and you can just have like 2 or 3 of these in your deck, hopefully, and be able to splash them pretty easily without ever having to even put a site of that specific threshold in your atlas. Like, that would be really cool. So yeah, really cool design. Yeah, sorcery is just knocking out of the park. Like, so many unique designs, and I'm here for it. All right, Enduring Faith is next. This is 2 mana, 1 earth threshold for an exceptional magic. Ward an allied minion. Until your next turn, it takes damage for its nearby allies instead. So 2 mana, ward something, and it becomes a bodyguard until your next turn. So this is kind of a combo with that unique site that I gave like an F to, where you put yourself on death's door. So I guess if you have a minion near your avatar, you can cast this and then play that site, or I guess play the site, reanimate a minion, and then ward that minion, I guess is something you could do. So you could do this even on an empty board if you have both of those cards, but obviously that's a unique. In most situations, I don't know. I'm not a big believer in just spend a card on a ward. Um, yeah, and that like redirects damage, but it's like it doesn't like turn off damage. Like, sure, the ward protects the minion once, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not really a fan. Like, they can still attack your sites, and even if the minion is near your avatar, it still doesn't take the damage for your sites. It only takes damage for allies, and attacks on sites are not damage. They cause life loss. Yeah, it's pretty weird. It reminds me of that like shield wall card that no one ever played. I'm gonna give this like a C minus. I don't know. Like, maybe there's some situations where it'll be fine, but I just want to play basically anything else over this. All right, Weathered Trunks is 4 mana, 1 water threshold for a 4 power ordinary spirit. Must be cast to an allied site occupied by an enemy. So we love 4 mana, 4 power minions. Like I said, with the monks, like that's like a B. I mean, the monks had upside, but this is just 4 mana, 4 power, and that's like at least like a B minus. But you can't cast it unless your opponent has stuff on your sites. So I think this is for like this is another tick in the box of saying like yes, monsters are the defensive deck. They want to like play huge minions that stabilize the board, basically. It's kind of weird that this is a spirit, I guess, but maybe there are some spirit synergies. Like there are a few spirits that we've seen, so that's pretty interesting. So basically, you want to play this in any water deck that is trying to be defensive. If you're in a water deck that is trying to beat down, then this card is terrible. That averages out to like a C, but in the defensive water decks, like maybe this is still like a C plus. It's definitely not like B minus. I think it's playable in those decks basically, but if you're being aggressive, this is just really really bad. You can't just have a minion that you can't cast. Right, Mayor of Milborn. This is the card that I was talking about that was pumping that monk that it wasn't supposed to be pumping because it can't be modified. This is 3 mana to Earth Threshold for a 2 power elite mortal. Other nearby mortals have +1 power. So if you have one other mortal nearby this, then it's 3 mana for 3 power, which is good. But a lot of the time, hopefully, you're giving at least 2 other power, and this is 3 mana for 4 power, 2 power of which has like charge basically. Like that would be really cool. So I think this is going to be obviously a great card. Like Earth seems like it has a ton of mortals, and this is going to be like a great piece of synergy with basically any Earth deck, I'm assuming. So I'll give this, I think, like a B for now. All right, this is Golden Dawn. This is 7 mana for Earth Threshold for a unique magic. Deal out your top spells, one to each site in your back row. Summon any that are minions and put the rest at the bottom of your spellbook. If you're on death's door, they gain charge. So this is just an amazing card. Like, look at that flavor. I absolutely love this. This is such a home run. Um, so how good is it? So it puts cards on your back row. It doesn't say your sites. So even if your opponent has sites on your back row, you still get cards there and you summon them to your opponent's sites. So that's kind of cool. So you want to play your deck with this card in mind. You want to play some sites into the back row, at least get like 3 or 4 sites in the back row just in case you draw this, and then you can like put a 5th site in the back row and then cast this. And if you do that, like it's completely busted. So I ran a hypergeometric calculator. So I found that if your deck has 17 minions, which is about average, so you have this card plus 6 other non-minions, and then you have 17 minions. That's like pretty much like the rule of thumb that people use is like you want 17 minions, 7 non-minions. So at that, if you have 5 sites in the back row, you have a 91% chance of hitting at least 3 minions. And you have a 60% chance of hitting at least 4 minions. And then if you're properly building around this and you go even deeper, you go to 19 minions, then there's an 80% chance that you hit 4 minions. That's just insane. And not to mention, like, if you hit 4 minions with this, you're probably getting like 12 mana worth of minions or something. So yeah, this card can be completely insane. And yeah, I love super swingy games. I don't think you necessarily want to wait to cast this until you're on death's door or anything, but if you top deck this and you're on death's door, it might just win you the game. Like you probably just put your opponent on death's door if your things are in range of their sights. You easily protect yourself, like kind of wipe the board probably. I guess you don't get to like choose which minions go where on the back row. You kind of just randomly deal them out, but still, like you've got to be hitting some pretty sweet things and giving them charge. And yeah, this card just seems insane. So I'm gonna give it an A. I'm can't wait to cast this in limited and see what happens. Panpipes of Nam is 3 mana for an elite instrument. Damage caused by nearby units is increased by 2. So this is a combo with the skeletons. They're all 1 power, and now they get to deal 2 damage. So damage caused by nearby units. I'm assuming that this works when you hit a site. Yeah, I mean, it's strike damage, right? So yeah, and then it allows them to trade up. you don't have to have this carried by a unit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I like that. Like spending 3 mana to give like a bunch of your skeletons +1 power, maybe that is worth it. I don't know. It's kind of a win more card though. Like it doesn't protect your skeletons from dying, it just makes them deal 1 extra damage. And if something has 0 power, I think it doesn't get increased to 2 because 0 damage is not damage. So it's not causing damage in the first place, so it can't be increased. So yeah, it really is just 1 power minions get +1 power, kind of. Yeah, I'm gonna give it like a D plus. I'm not really a believer in this, but if you're going really hard in the skeleton deck, maybe you draft Necromancer or something, then maybe it's playable. Okay, and then the last one from that game that Chase and Ira played, they didn't actually show this card, so this is kind of a crappy screenshot, but this is the Townsfolk for water. So we saw one of these, I think, for Earth. There's like a colorless site that you play, and you can cast a Townsfolk from your collection. So this is 1 mana for 2 power ordinary mortal. It's Sarava Townsfolk. That's like a C minus or D plus. 1 mana, 2 power minions. They're fine. Okay, and then we got Harbinger spoiled. This is a 20 power 1, 20 life 1 power avatar. I'm assuming it's elite. Your avatar has triple access to success. Tap 2, player draw a site, and on setup, determine 3 random squares. Once on your turn, you may cast a minion to one of them, and for 1 less. Not really sure about this. Like, you're just getting some like tempo, basically, and some potentially the ability to like put minions on your opponent's sites, but unless it's literally like their starting site, then they can just choose not to put sites on the squares that you have this ability triggered to. And then if this triggers on like the corner, then maybe they can just like section off the corner and then you just can't cast things there anyway. So yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be an extremely weird one. Like I have to play with this to really figure it out. My gut is telling me that it's not really that good because we're really concerned with like winning through card advantage. At least that's how I win like 90% of the games that I win is probably through card advantage, like getting 2 for 1s. And when you put Harbinger in your avatar slot instead of Spellslinger, you're down a card. So this has to make up for a full card and then get additional value for it to actually be worth it. And I'm just not really sure how you do that with this. And I don't really like that it's random. But I guess I should challenge myself to try this card still and to see how it plays out because it's gonna be fun, and that's why we're playing Sorcery, right? Is because it's a fun game. So I don't, I don't necessarily see this being the way to win a limited championship, but it is a way to have fun, and that is a win. So I'm gonna give it like a C plus. I'm not like totally off of this card. I'm willing to try it competitively and see if it's actually worth it competitively. Um, but for the most part, I'm just gonna play this and have fun doing it. So that's great. And then this is another spoiler that this is, I think, the final spoiler that I'm gonna do by myself. I'm gonna do the rest of the spoilers with Nick, because we said we were gonna do that together. This is like someone got their precons early in the mail and they spoiled this one card, and I don't know, I just don't love that it's like not really an official spoiler. I considered just not putting this in the video, but I'm just gonna do this one card and then this is gonna be the last one that I do. So this is 7 mana for water threshold for a 10 power unique monster. It occupies all locations safely, and it's banished without 5 voids, ignores the abilities of sites. So this is just such an interesting card. So I can't not talk about it. So 7 mana is doable and limited, especially because this is in water. I think water is the like defensive element, and the monster deck wants to get into the late game and like have some control win conditions like this thing. Let's go line by line. It is a monster. That's good. You can use like the evil den or whatever to get this out on turn 6 if you want to. Yeah, maybe this is probably one of those cards that it's actually a downside that it's evil. Like there's going to be some cards that say like smite, for example, is an ordinary removal spell that says like if something is evil then banish it. So yeah, this is just going to die to smite, unfortunately, but If they don't have smite, then obviously it's going to be incredible. So, okay, occupies all locations safely. So that means it is on the entire board. Um, so I guess you just like put it in the middle of the board to represent that it's there, and this is in all of the voids. It's in the surface and the subsurface because it occupies all locations safely. So nothing is safe from it. It transcends comprehension. Um, that's just incredible. So it can attack or block anywhere, and the turn that you play it, like anywhere they attack, you can just block. So busted. And also, I guess if they even just move and don't attack anywhere, this can intercept. That's pretty funny. Um, so yeah, if they just move their avatar, you can just be like, okay, I intercept. So I can't wait for that to happen. That's gonna be hilarious. Okay, and then it is banished without 5 voids. So that's the part that I'm really worried about. So you play this, you have 7 sites in play. Your opponent, let's say, has 7 sites. So that's 14 sites in play. There's 6 voids. As soon as 2 more sites get played, then there's 4 voids left, and then this thing gets banished. So that's like really the way that you're gonna kill this. But if you just get to 7 sites and play this, and then your opponent has to get up to 9 sites in order to banish this, that's like pretty hard to do, honestly, especially if you're the one in the monster deck that's like trying to play a lot of sites and like I don't know, like yeah, you're probably going to have 7 sites and they're going to have 6 sites is what's going to happen most of the time because you're playing toward this and they're just taking their time. Maybe they're moving their avatar around instead of playing sites, that kind of thing. So yeah, you're probably going to have multiple turns where this is in play and they just can't, even if they just draw a site for turn and play it, they're still going to be like 6 voids left. So yeah, that's pretty powerful. Okay, and then it ignores the abilities of sites. Who cares about that? Yeah, basically, yeah, whatever that means. Like, there's gonna be sites that are bad for different things or whatever, and this can just ignore it. Like, if there's one consecrated ground in play, if this didn't have that line of text, then this would be a 0 power minion. So that's probably why that is there, and that makes a lot of sense. Um, so yeah, the play pattern of this, you're the monster deck, you're stabilizing the board, you're trying to defend yourself, and then you play this, and then now the first like big thing that they attack with, you just tap this and block it, and then on your turn you untap, and then you tap this and say I attack this location way off in the corner. Like this can attack any location on the board. You can only block at the location that this is targeting, so it basically just taps to deal 10 damage to their avatar. Like they just are not going to be able to block this. There's no way. So this basically just automatically blocks their best attacker, and then you untap and you put them at death's door. Is basically what this does. Um, yeah, this card's just incredible. Imagine this with Helpful Hob. You get to attack and then untap and attack with this again. Put them at death's door from 20. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, I think this card is incredible. I think it's an A, if not an A plus. I guess the reason that maybe it's not an A plus is that they can just untap and cast Smite and then it's banished. So and then also like I guess if they have 10 power on board, they could just throw it all into Yog Sothoth. I don't know if I even said the name of this card, but yeah. So this is the last spoiler I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do the rest of the deck. So keep an eye out for those. Also, I'm going to be doing a bunch of videos about my experience at SUGCon Las Vegas. Those are going to be coming up very soon because I'm going to try to get them out like as quick as possible so that I free up my time to edit videos and put stuff out about Gothic. But this was just like the most incredible sorcery event I've ever played in. Like there were some really insane games, like unbelievable stuff happened at that event, and I recorded 8 out of my 10 matches in the limited championship. So I have to make a bunch of videos about that. So look forward to those, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.